Our standards have fallen really low. This might not speak to everyone, yet everyone can understand it. You're watching a game showcase or an award show. A developer walks on stage and begins. We wanted to tell the story of. What follows is often a detailed explanation of the studio's creative vision, narrative ambition, an artistic goal, or a narrative agenda. Yet almost nothing is said about the gameplay itself, and when the gameplay is finally revealed, in the following months, you realize there is often nothing truly substantial about it. That is the reality of the overwhelming majority of modern video games. More often than not, what you see is a slight reinvention or something that already exists. Sometimes developers simply combine two familiar mechanics into one game. Sometimes they add a single feature to an already established formula, but only rarely are players shown a genuinely new and exciting game design. And the reason makes perfect sense. We've been trained to accept mediocrity. Now, before some of you jump to the defense of the indie developers and low-budget studios, I hear you, don't worry. But let me show you what we are causing today and who the unfortunate weaklings among the consumers really are. Let's take for example Dispatch, a game released in 2025, with its final in-game episodes becoming available in November. The game offers a narrative experience centered around branching dialogue choices and dispatch minigames as its core gameplay loop. Its budget has been rumored to be around 10 million, despite several development difficulties encountered along the way. Dispatch was praised by a large number of players, nominated for Best Debut Indie Game at the Game Awards, and received review scores ranging from 8 to 10 out of 10s from both journalists and many gamers. But what was Dispatch in reality? And did it deserve the praise that it received? If we examine the game from a gameplay perspective, it delivers a very limited gameplay loop, with branching choices that are, at times, fairly constrained. Its art direction, voice acting, animation quality, and story create a refreshing experience for many players, but its gameplay represents a step backward for the genre rather than a meaningful evolution. Now, many players immediately come to the defense of the developers by pointing to the difficulties they faced during production. I understand. Those difficulties are real and they deserve respect, but the gaming industry should not hand out gold medals for effort. It should hand out gold medals for innovation, for memorable gameplay, for experiences that genuinely move the medium forward. Dispatch has excellent writing, excellent voice acting, and presentation, but those qualities alone do not automatically make it an excellent video game, and pretending otherwise sends a dangerous signal to the rest of the industry. The fact that something is liked does not automatically make it exceptional. Dispatch was reportedly developed by roughly 30 people with a budget of around 10 millions, and so was Clair Obscur Expedition 33, yet the outcomes are dramatically different. You can absolutely defend the challenges Dispatch developers faced, and you would be right to do so, but those challenges cannot justify treating the final result as though it represents the future of the medium. Dispatch is not a step forward in gameplay design, it is a step backward. It has potential, a lot of potential, but potential is not the same as achievement. At its current state, much of its gameplay could comfortably exist as a mobile game. That is not a compliment. Its replayability is limited. Its room for gameplay experimentation is even more limited. When we reward projects like this as masterpieces, we quietly tell every other developer this level is enough. It is wise to praise effort. It is unwise to reward mediocrity as excellence. Dispatch is a good interactive story, but a very average video game. Now, let's look at the counterpart mentioned previously, Expedition 33. The story holds its ground just as well. Gamers haven't seen this level of writing in years, but even if you remove the story entirely, Expedition 33 would still remain an outstanding French take on an already established genre. Is it radically innovative? Not at all. But it touches exactly the spot gamers didn't know they wanted to feel. The proof is simple. Just like Baldur's Gate 3 before it, Expedition 33 brought all kinds of players into the genre that was previously enjoyed mostly by its core audience. Today, almost any type of gamer can enjoy Baldur's Gate 3 or Expedition 33 because the gameplay makes the journey worth taking. Can we demand completely new game design from every single release? No. That simply isn't realistic. That can we demand that every new game contributes at least one genuinely new idea integrated into a familiar design in a way that makes the experience feel unlike anything we've played before? Absolutely. And we should. You see, make it another Souls-like without adding a meaningful new twist simply means redesigning the packaging, not improving the package. Because whether we like it or not, story, art direction, music, and narrative vision are what attract us to the experience. Gameplay is what makes it a video game. Story gives players a reason to move forward. Gameplay gives them a reason to play. If we keep receiving the same package wrapped in different paper and praise it simply because we love the previous package, the package itself will never improve. Red Dead Redemption 2 carried much of the same gameplay DNA as the first game, but it was the overwhelming amount of meaningful detail that made the innovation impossible to ignore. No matter how exceptional the story is, the gameplay system alone could justify its Game of the Year nomination. To this day, very few games have reached that level of craftsmanship. The modern Resident Evil games offer exceptional visuals, strong stories, and beloved gameplay loop. Yet, from one release to the other, the core gameplay evolves very little. A new perspective, a new resource, a few additional mechanics, but very little that fundamentally changes the experience. And yet we continue nominating many of them for Game of the Year. Why? Because if you keep praising the same loops, the loop will never break. Now, demanding complete reinvention every few years would be unrealistic. We know that trying something entirely new fails just as often as it succeeds, but demanding meaningful innovation is nothing but rational if we genuinely want standards to rise and games to evolve. After all, who wouldn't want that? So what should really be the standard for a Game of the Year? The answer has been hidden in front of us the entire time. Game. Not story, graphics, or marketing, but game. I wouldn't argue that Capcom make bad games, because they don't. Resident Evil games are excellent. In fact, they should be studied in game design schools. But excellence alone shouldn't automatically earn a Game of the Year trophy every time. We've all experienced that moment while playing games. When we play and we say, damn, I wish I could do this, or I wish the game also let me do that, or even, if only they had added this to the game, I would have played it. Those moments are where the signals for the future of the industry are born, because every time one of those ideas become reality, the standard rises. Now let's compare that to a franchise like Assassin's Creed. From one game to the next, the puddle gets wider, but it rarely gets deeper. The world, the maps, the quest lists all become much larger, but the core experience changes very little. And when something new is introduced, it is rarely something that fundamentally changes how we play. Resident Evil, despite keeping a familiar gameplay loop, still experiment with enemy designs, puzzle design, pacing, atmosphere, and unique scenarios. Assassin's Creed often struggles even to reach that level of experimentation. Yet both franchises reveal the same underlying problem. Consumers continue rewarding familiarity, and every purchase quietly tells the industry this is enough. If consumers continue rewarding nearly identical experiences, developers have less reason to pursue meaningful innovation. Because why take bigger risk when familiarity already wins? And as you might have already heard on this channel, Type 1 and Type 2 consumers are currently the main enablers of this phenomenon. Through the attachment to familiarity of Type 1 consumers and the strong optimism of Type 2 consumers, their purchasing behavior often sends the wrong signals to the gaming industry. but I wouldn't claim they do it on purpose. As I've said before, Type 1 and Type 2 consumers are not good or bad. They simply recognize value differently. Type 1 consumers see value in familiar brands, established franchises, and proven experiences. Type 2 consumers see value in products that are easy to access and easy to trust, often guided by optimism and convenience. And honestly, that's understandable. People have limited time, they have families, they have responsibilities, but people also want entertainment. While Type 3 consumer spends time evaluating the objective value of entertainment products, many Type 2 consumers simply don't have the time or the desire to do that, so they naturally gravitate towards what feels familiar and accessible. A married couple probably won't spend hours researching animated films before taking their children to the latest Disney movie. A tired 9-to-5 worker coming home after a long day may not want to gamble on an unfamiliar shooter from a new studio. Call of Duty feels safer. It feels familiar and reliable, and that's perfectly understandable. This isn't a moral failure. It's simply consumer behavior. The problem appears only when millions of these individual choices become one large market signal. This is merely an observable problem, and in the next video we will reveal the solution.